I said, well, I'm scared. I said, I'm scared because me leaving my family, who's going to protect them?
Mm-hmm.
And God, clear as day, said, oh, so you the one keeping them protected.
That's good. That's mine. I feel you.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm sorry, God. Forgive me. Because we like to think because of our presence, they're being protected. I can get obliterated. My presence can get obliterated if they come in with the right tools.
For real.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Yeah, I shoot. I got some fighting skills.
Right.
This is real.
Right.
I can shoot a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Run up on me if you want to. But
you can handle a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what I'm saying. I'm very defensive minded. I'm not scared of anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? But can I be taken out? Of course. So if I get taken out in any scenario around my family, am I the real protector? You know what I'm saying? Even if I get taken out and they be safe, they're still safe. Right. I got taken out. So who really protected them? Who was really their protector? So I think in a natural sense, as a man, it's natural to be like, I'm the protector, and you're supposed to be.
Okay.
But
that's the point.
protection comes from a protector.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not you protecting it. It's that God gives you the ability to protect.
Welcome to the Awesome Black Dad Show, where we give life to the stories of fathers in a way that empowers and encourages us to be a better version of ourselves. Today's episode features a panel of dads brought together to discuss their feelings and opinions on topics ranging from raising our boys to their fullest potential to the true meaning of happy wife, happy life. We really had some fun with this one, so turn up the volume a notch and enjoy.
And if you hit that emotion,
yeah,
baby, listen, I love you. Thank you for trying, but do this for me.
Right. But the way that, but I think
you can take space like that too.
That last statement I think is the most ideal part. The fact that she's doing whatever she did, she's doing it for you.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But by saying, I appreciate it, number one, but this is what I need you to do for me. Going back to your original point, is what makes it work, because that gives you the space to do.
When I used to work, real quick, I used to work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And my first week, we worked on a Saturday. I didn't know that Saturdays was super busy. So before we started opening the office, I decided to go across the street and get some donuts for the office. Right. I came back and they were humping. And the manager looked at me and said, listen, thank you for the donuts, but that's not what we need you to do. We need you here. Boom. I got you now.
I got it.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? And that's the same, not the same tone. But
right. No, I get it. And I know you got something to say, Tony, but to address that really quick is like, that's the way that we think. We operate like that. Like if I came to you and be like, bro, that is not what I need. I need you to roll the blunt. No, I'm just I don't smoke nothing. I just thought I'd throw that in there. I don't do it. But I need a 6-pack, not a 4-pack. Like you get it. Like, but when we try to communicate in a way with our significant others, like about that thing that we need, it's like you didn't hear what I said, and then we don't get it. We don't get it the other way. But yeah, that too. So what you got to say, Tony?
You got to check your delivery, but you also have to look at what is the influence in your family space. You have to understand that a lot of times decisions are being made or adjustments are being made based on what's coming in from somewhere else.
Right.
And so, once again, going back to the whole what society says, political correctness, whole 9 yards, you have to manage and keep a regular ledger of how things are taking place in your home. It's something as simple as, okay, we set up a budget, and so we work in the budget, and the budget appears to be working.
Right.
Then later on down the line, you look or you ask a question, and she say, "Oh no, ain't none of that like that." You know, well, wait, we had the budget. This is supposed to be like this. Well, no, see, we didn't do this, and we didn't do this.
Right.
You can't just do it and let it ride.
Yeah.
You have to be coming back checking to make sure that how you want this to run. If you're going to play the role of head of household, you have to keep checking back on your team members.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and then that way you're instilling in her as well as the children and in-laws and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
What their expectation is, what they need to bring to the table, and you're constantly building a trust in you.
Right. Fair.
Because you're doing that.
Fair. Okay. Tony, if you got something else, we'll go to the next question. But
we can go to the next question.
Okay, you sure? Because I mean, it led off what you had said, and I think was a very valid point, and we kind of struggle. I know I do struggle with that balance, and it's all about balance. But communication is the thing that'll bring that together, which is a whole nother conversation too when it comes to men and women. We'll be here another 3 hours.
Right.
So the next question out of the box is, what does it mean for a man to support a child? I.e., is it only about money?
Absolutely not.
Oh man, you said that. You want to stand up? Give him a guy. Yeah, let's get out of the way. Everybody move.
Right.
Everybody. Get Tony the mics, man. Take your headphones off.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tony. You got the floor.
There's some things that money can't buy. And you could be in a house with a multimillionaire and not get principle. From a parent. You cannot get the things that you need to learn from that parent that money just can't buy. Mm-hmm. So what it means to support a kid or support a child is to give them the things, the life lessons that carry them through life, that help them become the best versions of the people that they can ultimately become. Mm-hmm. And that does not always have anything to do with money. I mean, when I look around the room, right. I know that I didn't necessarily come from a family that had a lot of money, mm-hmm. but my mother definitely taught me work ethic.
Yeah.
She taught me the value of education because even though she didn't have what would have been a necessarily big job, she was always engaged in learning something more about herself. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that money can't buy, and when you can teach that to a child, they can learn how to build them things in themselves that makes them better people.
Right. No, that's yeah. Right. Boom. Yeah, I don't know that I can even add anything on to that. I mean, because I would agree. Money is probably when it comes to supporting kids, money is the furthest thing away from support. It's not the first thing. It's not even in the top 3 things that I would probably say that matters, right? Because I grew up in a single family household, so it's like when I think about the times when I wanted my father around, it never had anything to do with money.
Never.
When I had an argument with my mom, I wanted somebody to step in and be able to say, this is why he's feeling this way. Get a boy a break, mm-hmm. right? There were times when I just wanted to be at a basketball game with my, with my dad, or be somewhere out with him, right? Has nothing to do with money.
I think the reason why money even comes up in the conversation of children is because it's not about money being a means of support as much as it's money being a means of punishment. And so the whole idea for a lot of men is that many women are angry because the relationship didn't go the way they thought it was going to be, or the man isn't responding to her the way that she feels that he should be responding, or the court doesn't feel that he's responding the way that he should, or conducting himself the way that he should. And so it's the interpretation of it being a means of teaching you a lesson, that we're going to take this money away from you. Because the reality is, if you take a whole bunch of money from a guy, now you got a guy that's mad because his lifestyle, which may not have been over the top at that particular time, is now some in some ways sacrificed.
And he's going to be a worse dad
because now he ain't got a car to come over.
Yeah,
he probably ain't got a place of his own to stay in. So he's dealing with whatever foolishness he's dealing with on that end. And so more times than not, it's the punishment that comes along with child support, if you will.
Yeah.
And so many people using it as a tool to beat somebody. For instance, and we're just using it because the numbers work. If you happen to have a child by a celebrity, why do you need $30,000 a month? And you ain't never had that kind of job. I don't care how much money this guy made.
Right. or woman made for that matter.
Exactly.
Right. In
You're
the Mary J.
doing
Blige
this.
sense, I guess.
You're doing this to punish this person. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Or you're doing this to get even or get something from them that you didn't have that you ain't willing to work for.
Right.
And that's when you get into the whole question of what that support means.
And it fundamentally breaks down the foundation for which our relationship should be built on.
Absolutely.
Now you have women that are specifically, and there's always, I guess, since the dawn of time, there have been women that want the guy with the most goats, right? That just you can go all the way back if you know Jesus had slippers and dude got dude got shoes where his toes is covered. Jesus is out, right? I don't care. His toes is out. I need the dude with the cover. So you're gonna have those folks, but fundamentally now it's like get what you can out of him because it's not gonna last. And we understand that in life not a lot of things last, but we should not go into these relationships with that frame of mind as men and as women. Like, we know relationships break up. That doesn't mean that that's how you have to go into that relationship, whether you have a kid out of it or not. Right. And then once you do decide to have a kid out of it, I think that there's responsibility to be had on both sides, and it takes people a little while to get there. But you figure out that, hey, there's something bigger here at play, and we got to figure out how to work that out. True. But what you were saying is like a nice segue to this next question that I just picked up out of the box. And I was like, phew. Yeah, let's move on to this. Let's move on to this. He's new.
Did you hit the record button?
He just gonna interrupt.
You supposed to say that like 10 minutes ago. Be like,
right?
No, that's right, Tramel. You step in and be a man. You take your space. Right. Take your space.
They made me get an intern, and look at what's happening. He just stands up and puts his mouth on the mic and say, "Yeah, look, we're not recording." No, I appreciate that.
Taking his space.
You very much. No, it's fine.
We need to pause and change the chip.
No, we good. I ain't gonna worry about it.
All right.
But so the next question is how do we start to live authentically as men and challenge other men to do the same? Look at the faces around the room.
I think that's when we have to shed the need. And I think that's one of the questions that I put in there. We need to shed the need to have our definitions of manhood and our perceptions of what men should be about. We need to shed the need for those to be accepted by women and society at large.
Reel that thing on.
Yeah.
Reel that thing on in.
Yeah,
I thought you was going to leave it there. I was like, wait a minute.
No.
We about to have a fiery conversation.
No. We need to get to a point where no is okay for us to say, and there is no reason. Simply because this is what men see, this is what men do, and you don't have to accept it. But the reality is, this is what men do. For instance, we talked about it a little bit earlier when we were talking about the accomplishments and titles and goals that many women have, or that they've been convinced that they need to attract a better man. Mm-hmm. And so they go out and they get the degrees and they get the jobs and the titles and the salaries. And then they're trying to figure out why the men who have those same goals, titles, salaries, and degrees aren't looking for them. When the reality is, what man ever told you that that's what men cared about?
Yeah. That's not the thing that we value the most. It's important, but it's not the thing that we value the most.
Exactly. Right. And if you find a man who that's what he values, it's not because of you. It's to make sure that you're not asking him for nothing. Yeah. And that when it's possibly time to leave, that you ain't taking nothing of his when you leave.
Right.
So you've been duped into believing that that's what men think, because you didn't ask men to begin with. Mm-hmm. Or you didn't ask men who were willing to tell you the truth. Okay. But we keep getting into this place where we're concerned about whether women accept it or not. So we don't want to say I'm the head of this family, or I'm only looking for a family where I'm the head, because I don't want to be offensive. When the reality is, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
And that's what it is.
And leave it at that. You know what I mean?
Let's be real.
Yeah. That's what it is. And so we keep playing this game, trying to play society's game, when this ain't even our society.
This is true. It's not our society, but one of the things that we talked about, or I've talked about before, and just in random conversation, is that I have to understand that my kids will not only be raised by me; they're going to be raised by society to some degree. So they're going to pull, and not as a whole. My hope is that the things that I instill in them are things that kind of stick with them, and they can kind of balance that out with the stuff that they kind of learn outside of this household.
You're saying they're going to be influenced to a certain degree.
Right, to a certain degree. That's basically what I'm saying. So, and Real just made me forget my train of thought with that. So, so yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree that we have to get to a place to where we stop apologizing for being, because effectively, to some degree, that's what it is. It's like, come on, or, looking for the validation for somewhere else for the things that we need to be in the places that we've decided to be in. If I decided to be with you, you're going to, whether you like it or not, you have to accept what I'm bringing to the table. And this is what I know that I bring, the value that I bring.
Earlier, I want to answer a question for you.
Right.
Earlier, you mentioned us having daughters,
right,
and what we teach our daughters. Both my daughters are graduates from University of Missouri. One was one of the highest, or the highest, recruited senior in her department when she graduated.
Nice.
Went off, got one of the few. There were only 4 of her internships available when she left college. She got one of those 4. Mm-hmm. When she got all of those things, the reality is, what I taught her was not to go out and look for a man based on those accomplishments. Mm-hmm. She was going out looking for a man who was looking to lead a family. Now, does that say throw everything that you've learned and accomplished to the wolves and forget that and become his helpmate and supporter, and that's the life you're going to live? No. You've effectively put yourself in a position to be of good counsel to the head of the household. You put yourself in a position to, when he is unable to lead, or for whatever reason is unsure about the decisions that he's making, for you to become the support to make him stronger so that your family unit becomes stronger. Mm-hmm. That's not to say that you're less than. If anything, it's showing the strength that you have and understanding what you bring to the table. Because she's not interested in coming to the table to be a leader. That ain't what she needs you for. That ain't what she wants you for. Because the reality is, she can do that by herself, for herself. Mm-hmm. But if she's going to bring herself into a position where I'm going to be part of a family unit, she understands going in, this is what I'm looking for, mm-hmm. because this is what my daddy was.
Right.
Okay. So at some point, we have to understand that instilling in our children, train up a child in the way he should go, mm-hmm. and when he's old, he won't depart from it. Yes, we're going to have influences from outside of the family unit, but the reality is, those things that have been instilled in us that we honestly believe and have taken hold of, mm-hmm. and that we've seen work. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, we have parents who tell people something different than what they do. Mm-hmm. So why would your kids believe it? Because they ain't seen you do it. Right. How they know it worked?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So when you put them in a position to understand that what you're instilling in them is legitimate, mm-hmm. I think societal influence is what it is. If anything, they'll take the parts that they do and learn to improve on what they got from you.
Right.
But I don't think you're dealing with a situation where, when you've given them something legitimate that's been proven to work, that whatever society says has any bearing on anything.
So, as a second part of that question, how do we challenge other men to do the same?
I mean, to live authentically and challenge other men to do the same, I don't think it's our job to challenge. I think.
Right.
Let me explain why.
Go ahead.
Some things you only need self-motivation for. You know what I mean? To challenge another man is also saying to challenge another king on how he should rule his whatever, his kingdom. So challenging other men, that's not our job to do. We can motivate, we can try to help build, because challenge another man to live is essentially how I hear it is. Let me tell you what you should be doing.
But I do hear that. But I think once again we've gotten into definition where challenge doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. Challenge can be motivation.
That's why I said
as opposed
motivation. I use motivation.
No.
I'm big with words, so don't mind me when I say challenge. And
no.
I'm listening to.
But that's a great point though, because when we say challenge, a lot of men are gonna look at it as hold on, player.
Yeah. Exactly.
But so I definitely understand.
It's all about approaching, man.
I think
because I believe that men have certain roles. So I'm not diminishing that idea at all. Yeah. I'm just saying.
But even I hear what you're saying, but I get what you're saying, but I think that is the only. So we are only growth. The only way that you grow is by tearing something apart, right? So when you go lift weights. Yeah. Right? The only way that your muscle grows is that you rip it apart. When you go in there and you lift weights, you're effectively ripping old muscle to build new, right? And the only way that, I shouldn't say the only way. But the biggest way for men, right, to be molded, changed, to get into the place of growth, right, we have to be challenged. So here's an example, just for me and you, right? Because so Rel and I went to high school together. Right. And so, like, I think it was like freshman year, sophomore year, right? Probably more like freshman year. So both of us at the time, we really athletic, probably the most athletic kids in the school at the time. Mm-hmm. And so, but we were in different gym classes, right? And so at lunch, but we all had lunch together. And so my class knew that I was like, highest jumping guy in the class. And then his class knew that he was the highest jumping dude in the class. So they would come to lunch and they'd be like, yeah, you can jump, but the dude over there, that dude Jarrell can jump. And I'm like, show him to me. Who is he? Where he at? Let me see him. What he look like. You know what I mean? And then once we do get a chance to meet and I see him and he sees me, it's like, all right, well, now I got to do something. Now I got to try to do something a little bit different. And that's all driven by the challenge of that. And that's how growth is done. So in effect, to become better men and to be whatever authenticity looks like, we have to challenge each other. That's why I expect when I have conversations with you, I expect you to challenge some of the ways that I think. Not that we have to. I mean,
those are at that point back in your scenario. Yeah, we were opposition, so it's a different type of challenge. So listen. We were in different gym class. We weren't on the same team though. So you started talking a little trash to me.
Yeah, but we were like, so otherwise, if we're opposition,
no, I wanted to murder you. That's not,
but still, I get that.
So it's not really a challenge. It's more like, boy, I'm about to crush you.
Right, but that's still.
But you crushing him wasn't about him.
Right,
it was about proving you was a king.
So that's the challenge.
You don't get to be the king without challenge.
Right, and so that's how.
You don't just show up.
But to me, it's not a challenge. It's more like, dude, come on.
But that's how you. That's how you made. Otherwise, you would have walked away.
But we talking about building. You said the men. How do you challenge other men to live authentically?
Because
it's not a competition.
In that challenge, he's saying the same thing.
No.
I'm gonna destroy him.
Right. So.
And because of that, y'all both.
I mean, for public purposes, I crushed him.
Let's stop.
Go ahead.
Let's not even get into that.
But Rail has a great point. But at the end of the day, it has to be something where accountability is at the base of it. You see what I'm saying? So what I mean by that, for instance, in business, I have a business, right? Mm-hmm. You come along and you see what I'm doing in my business, right? And because we're friends, right? Mm-hmm. You come in and you say, "Dude, you know you're messing up, right? Mm-hmm. You need to stop playing and get real because right now you garbage. You might be doing things all right, but you garbage, because you could be so much better,
right? Yeah,
right. And so I have to be willing to hear that,
Yeah, you got to get away from your ego. You got to step away from what that means.
Right. I have to be willing to be accountable to where I am and where I could be.
Right.
And so in a way that challenge isn't the challenge that's challenging who I am as much as it's challenging my desire to be better than what I am.
Right. And so I think I think that the goal is that you be the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
And you can't do that in a vacuum.
But does every man want that?
But that,
they should.
That was actually
the biggest part.
That was actually a great example because the challenge didn't come from me. It came from you.
Right.
It came from self. That's what I'm saying. It came from looking at him. I was just doing me. I wasn't going to challenge. So to give another man to motivate him or to challenge him to live authentically. You keep doing what you're doing if you're already living authentically. No. He gonna see you. If I see your business, I'm gonna say, damn, I need to get myself together. Because I got my own business too. So it starts from self. That's all I'm saying.
No, it starts there, but you have to.
But the catalyst is having somebody else there to say that, you know what? I might not be doing all I can.
Exactly.
That's why our circles are the most important thing as it pertains to you don't have people in your circles that don't present you with some form of looking inside, like looking inward. Like we didn't know each other that well at the time, but once we were in the box together, it was like you made it worthy enough for me to be like, all right, I got to be better. Like if it was somebody else that couldn't jump over a matchbook, I wouldn't even be thinking about trying to go do more squats.
Exactly.
But I understand that you have to have some level of a growth mindset. But if I'm a thousandaire and I walk into a room with millionaires, one, I have to humble myself to understand that even though we're all men, they've done something greater than what I've done. Then if I have to make the decision whether or not I want to be where they are or stay where I am. If I want to stay where I am, leave the room.
Right. Because you could easily say, but I'm still successful.
Right. But I wanted to be better, so I stayed in that space.
To finish that story, I saw him. We clashed. I saw what he could not do. I knew he didn't have a left hand. He could jump. No, listen. No, this is real talk. Yeah. I knew he didn't have a left hand. I knew he could jump over the rim. But he jumped so high that he kept missing dunks. I pulled him to the side and said, look, this is how you dunk. You know what I'm saying? Like this you have to turn.
I had this same experience.
You can't just get up there. He's so strong naturally.
Right.
He just get up there and he always hit the back of the rim. So I told him, look, just turn your wrist a little bit and dunk it down as opposed to going towards the rim. So again, that whole challenging men to you gotta help them. To answer the question, you gotta help them. It's not a challenge. I didn't challenge you. It's more like I'm gonna just keep doing me.
Right.
No,
I'm gonna motivate you. I'm gonna motivate you by doing what I do.
You didn't verbally, but being in the space, right. And challenge not in the sense that I'm standing over you and it's gonna be me or you and we fighting to the death, but challenge me to look inside for my greatest potential.
I think we're talking in circles. We're saying the same thing.
We're probably saying the same, but we're using the word.
Right.
You are.
The thing is, challenge does not necessarily mean it's confrontational.
Right.
But it's saying I'm making you aware of something that you could be doing a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
So getting back to the question is,
how do we challenge men?
How do we live authentically? First of all, we got to be on purpose. And it's a lot of us that go around and we have no reason for being. Mm-hmm. We wake up in the morning and we just go through a routine without no clear idea other than we're going to earn some money, we're going to pay some bills, we're going to eat some chicken from KFC, and we're going to wash, rinse, repeat. Do it again Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then we get to Saturday and Sunday and we veg out on TV, And we go through a cycle of that, and we get to the end of our lives and never know who the hell we are. Our wives don't know who we are. Our children don't know who we are. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that we can say is, well, I earned a lot of money. I bought them some Jordans, some True Religions.
Right.
But we've never found what our real purpose is. And until you can find what that real purpose is, you can't never live authentically because you don't know what you're authentically here to do.
So how do you find it?
You
don't find it. You create it. Purpose is not
Well,
found. It's created.
I'll
If you had never
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'll say this about purpose. Purpose is actually revealed to you. Your purpose in life actually is told to you spiritually.
Right, but you have to create that.
Because just you have to create a environment for you to be conducive to receive that message.
Right.
I get you.
Right.
So to live authentically, we have to know. Like I know, I get so many business venture pitches. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, unequivocally.
Period. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You can walk away.
And who I am is more like who God wants me to be. So I'm living. I strive to live that way as opposed to me doing it myself a few years ago. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So living authentically to me, that purpose, from my experience, was given to me. Mm-hmm. I ain't think nothing about doing real estate. You know what I'm saying? I thought I had a whole bunch of other ideas. Mm-hmm. So when it was, my purpose was given, and that's a season. I don't know how long I'll be doing it, but I know I'm supposed to be doing some other stuff and da-da-da. Uh-huh. But that season was given. Just like any other relationship. If you have a relationship with God, just like we're talking about these relationships with our women, you know what I'm saying? If you have a relationship with God, just like I gave an example of, baby, I don't need you to be doing that. God might be saying that to you too.
Yeah.
I got you.
I
That's
got
good.
you. Move on.
But here's where I need you in the kingdom.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's your purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we have to train our ears to actually hear that type of stuff because we hear our own voice so much. Yeah. It's what we want. It's how we vision. You know what I'm saying? And just like you doing this whole thing, I used to get so pissed at this dude because he got so many great ideas. And he'll call me for years. He been doing this for like 15 years. He would call me and be like, "Real, man,
stop talking to me. Stop talking to me.
Let's meet up, man. I got something I want to run by you." So we meet up, have lunch or whatever, and he has this great business idea. And I'm like, "Man, that's dope." A few months go past, he ain't did nothing with it. Next year, he called me, "Man, I got another business idea." So with this awesome black dad, he called me, man. I'm sitting out in front waiting for my son to come out of basketball practice. He told me about the idea. I said, "Dust, don't you tell me another damn idea. If you not gonna move on it, don't tell me, because that idea is not coming from you. That's God giving you that idea. And if you're not moving on it, it's like you're a waste. It's like a waste pocket in your stomach. When you got waste pockets,
right,
you have to flush that out."
But
I don't even
that
like
goes
no more.
that goes into the other part of that question about how we challenge men to be the best version of themselves. Because at a certain point, you got to stop a brother in his tracks and go, "You know what? You done came to me with a whole bunch of ideas.
That's why he's here.
And you floundering your whole life."
But that's why we're like lifetime dudes. Like we can go however long without talking, but when you decide, when you figure out that that your circle is the most important thing, and you need to be in a circle of people that are not there to be yes men or women.
You get them run like hell,
man, and you want to be like, and you're really focused on development and growth in yourself, and you allow those people to be in your life, and vice versa. Like I don't want to be dead weight in nobody else's life either. Right. So I apply whatever I feel like I can add value to in those circles as well. And so it's a direct reflection of that being a challenge. Because he's right when he said that, it was like, all right, get off. You know, shit'll get off the pot. Man. It's time to get off the pot. Just do something.
You know what though? I do.
Now I do that to Dave, so y'all know.
but when I started my business, my sister, I was staying with my sister at the time, and she was like, "You're not finna have no excuse for why this don't get done. You're gonna be here. You're gonna give me this right here for this bill." And the rest of your money, you better invest in this. Ooh, and you better make it work.
That's what's up.
And real talk, I mean, it blew. After a while, she was like, "Yeah, let's get on the plane." You know what I mean? But the thing was, she was like, "You not finna tell me nothing else about no other business, about no other idea. You finna do this one right now."
And that was Tony's example of taking away the excuse. That's what she did.
Right.
And so it's important to be challenged, but I think the way that we approach it is what makes it
You definitely got to know the other person.
Yeah,
on how to challenge or motivate them, or whatever word we want.
Well, let's not even do that. Like, out of this conversation, I think the most important, if we're ever in a place where we're challenging each other or, pushing each other, motivating each other, that's fine. But if it's somebody else that we don't directly know and they come into your space for whatever reason, I think the way that you start that conversation to get a person to get closer to who they need to be authentically, because we're not the same. So let's not say that just because we're saying authentic, that means that me and Jarrell are the same when it comes to being a man. He's a different man than I, but that doesn't mean that I'm a bigger man or, a smaller. Challenge their circle. Not challenge it, but ask them. If somebody comes in your space, who are the 5 people that you talk to? Right. Who are the 5 people that you speak to the most? Tell me who they are, what they do, and then I can tell you.
You can figure out what type of person they are.
We don't need to talk anymore. If you change 2 or 3 people, I guarantee you come back to me in 8 months, you'll be closer to where you want to be. Right. And that's not a challenge. That's just a direct, hey.
Right. I met a kid, and I said kid because at that particular time he was same age as my daughter, the white kid. Mm-hmm. And so met him online, and he starts asking questions about my business, and he says, okay, well, I checked out your social media, and I checked out this, and I went past your site, and this is that and the other. I said, okay. He said, yeah, you playing around, you messing up. You really want to have a conversation, or you just want me to tell you something good and you gone about your business? And I'm like, dude, I'm old enough to be your dad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Get out your ego, man. But he's telling you some truth.
But that's what it took. Right. And part of manhood, when we define it, is we have to develop the ability to get out of our egos.
Yeah.
Because all too often we find ourselves dug in where I'm a man. Remember, I'm a man when you say this.
Yeah.
When the reality is, sometimes you need to hear some things that put you on your ass.
Right.
Or that put you in a position that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that you can be a better man.
Yeah.
When people come to me and ask like how to play chess a little better, I'm not like a guru. I just know a little bit. Ego.
Stop, man.
No, listen. A man's ego is the main reason he's weak at chess, because if I take a piece, his ego is saying, I need to equalize.
I got to get another piece. I got to get one of his.
It's not about that. It's about position.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's really not about material. It's about position. On the board, look at the board and play the board. Don't play the person across from you, because a man is prideful. Yeah. That's his ego. You remove the ego, you can play chess. You can start beating people that's good, because it's not about ego. You pay attention to the position in life. And just in life, remove the ego, look at your position. He was pretty much telling you your position. And once you realize, oh, let me pay attention to this position.
Right.
Forget my ego. Yeah. Then you became better. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what it took. I had to get past the fact that he was a kid to me.
Yeah.
I had to get past the fact, man, you don't know me.
Yeah.
But really, it didn't take much for him to look at. I know your business.
Right.
It's garbage.
Yeah. Out of the mouth of babes is what the Bible says.
Man,
something right. You know what I mean?
Truth is just truth.
It is. No matter where it comes from, actually.
And the couple of changes he told me to make, I was like, damn.
I would rather get truth from somebody younger, because they ain't as apologetic about it.
And they don't know how to sugarcoat it.
Well, they don't care about it.
Right.
You deal with it. That's your medicine to take.
Yeah. For sure.
That tell you straight out.
Now, you can be successful, or you can,
you can take it how you want it, but this is what I see, man. And that's,
Right.
And that's the other thing too, and we'll move on too, but like I'm working on my ability to discern certain things. Like we get caught up. Society gets us caught up in titles and what people do and what they drive, and we look at that as that's the person that has the ability to tell us what we need to get to the next level. When in actuality, the guy that lives behind me, that got a bunch of keys on his hanging off his pants, can give me more game to get me to the next level than the guy that's driving the Bentley.
So you're saying Mr. Liggins could give you more?
No name calling. No name calling.
I'm saying that I need to be in a place where I am open to hearing commentary from anybody, take it in, and discern it for what's good for me and what's not. right? Because you don't know where it, if you're spiritual and you believe there's a higher power, you don't know when God is going to send you and how he's going to send it to you. Right. Somebody can walk up to you. I got my shoes shined a couple months ago and I sat in a chair and I didn't want to get up. Dude was talking to me like he knew me for 20 years, right? And if I just sat there and put my headphones on and just been like, dude, shine my shoes, I would have missed some nuggets. There was a reason that I decided to sit in that chair and he decided to open up and tell me certainly. Now, some of it was like, he doing the shoe side thing, so he good at talking because that's what he do. But when you get to speaking certain things and you working on your ability to discern certain things, you hear and then you can pick up because I'm about growth. And so when I hear it, it's like, that can help me.
Chew the meat, spit out the bone.
Yeah, pretty much.
When I was younger, early 20s, college, the whole 9 yards, I'm out playing golf with my dad and one of his buddies. And so I knew this guy was a garbage man. Mm-hmm. He drove a Datsun Pt.2. He wore these wrinkled up shorts.
I think I'm too young for a Datsun B210. Can you Google that for me? I don't know what that is. Can somebody tell me?
Stop playing.
What is a Datsun? Is that a Ford?
No,
I looked at it like you.
I like, don't play. So he had this little yellow car, and he wore these wrinkled up shorts and these beat up golf shoes. And I'm trying for the life of me to figure out why my old man, corporate exec, is playing golf with this dude. So he playing golf. So one day I was like, after, we left, what's the motivation to play with this dude? He said, what you mean? He a good guy. He talking about things. I was like, this dude? In the rusty little car? He was like, dude, that man is a millionaire. I thought he was the garbage man. He is the garbage man. But he owns the company. He just likes riding on garbage trucks.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he owns the company?
You will miss your blessings if you get ahead of yourself.
Once I talked to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, this dude had an MBA and the whole 9 yards. You would never know.
Yeah.
But you got to put yourself in a position to receive something from somebody.
Somebody, yeah, because it only takes a little bit to change your life.
Yes, sir.
So the next question, which I think we probably touched on, but I'll ask it just in case if somebody else has something that they want to add to it. Why do we keep getting caught up in the perceptions of women about the rule? I think it's the rule of man, right? Yeah, I think that says the rule of man. When will men step up? Have we really?
Let me try to read that.
I think you just. I feel kind of.
Let me see that.
I graduated from somewhere. Oh, that's a Datsun. Gotcha.
Hotness.
Yeah, that's it.
Came with Factory 13.
Yeah.
Oh, rolls.
Okay.
All right.
So I think we did probably address that. But if anybody wants to have anything else to add to that, feel free. If not, we'll move on.
Yeah, I think we addressed
Okay,
that one.
that's fair. How can we raise our sons to be as strong as they should be?
We have to first be as strong as we should be. I had an experience where I was walking.
Man, Tony, I like the way I don't mean to cut you off, but when you get a question, I wish I was recording. When he get a question, Tony sits up, he grabs the mic, he makes everybody else sit down. He becomes the alpha. Everybody else sits back.
Right.
You're the alpha male now.
Right. But I had this experience where I was in the grocery store and my son was walking behind me, and when he was really young, he had the habit of walking really close behind me. And it was frankly freaking me out. I'm like, why is he walking so close behind me? Uh-huh. And, you talked about spirit speaking to you. It was just like, the reason why he's walking behind you is because you're the example. You are what he's following as his definition of what he carries into as he becomes the man that he's going to become. So if you don't show up first, you can't get mad when he doesn't show up. So if we're going to teach our men to be stronger, we've got to be stronger. We've got to live unapologetically about who we are in the world. And we can't let society dictate the roles that we're going to play in our families, in our communities, at our jobs. We have to show up as the leaders that we want our children to show up as. because whether we realize it or not, and I'm sure that Dave can certainly attest to this as he's watching Autumn grow up, but they mimic everything that we do.
Oh yeah.
You know, and when you start to understand,
Everything.
the psychology of people, they pick up on the habits. We live our life out of habits, and when you create certain habits in your household, your children just mimic the habits that they've grown up into.
Oh, they are absolutely God's way of putting a living, breathing mirror in front of us every day, right? When I look at my boys and it's like they do something, it's like, God damn it, that's me. I can't argue.
Right.
I can't get mad. I can't whoop you because that came from me, and I know it, and I still do it today. So I cannot be angry. I have to figure out how to adjust. I got to deal with me first. And it is such a struggle,
But-
right, with certain things, right? So the challenge, I agree with everything that you said. My other question to piggyback off of that, though, is because the question was, how do we raise them to be as strong as they should be? Is it our job to determine how strong they should be?
I don't think the question is referring to that, but you're asking as a piggyback.
Right, as a piggyback. So that's not the question. That's just me saying, like, how do we get them to? Because the question is, how do we raise our sons to be as strong as they should be? To some degree, that suggests that we know how strong they should be, right? But we have our own baggage, right? We have our own fears, our own insecurities that gets baked into our kids by way of examples and habits, right? And so in some instances, we're getting in the way of their greatness. Like, how do we figure out?
I don't think
back away.
I don't think that we get them as strong as they should be, as much as we make sure that they have a minimum amount of strength.
Like, we know where they shouldn't be.
Exactly.
That's what I get from the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know if I only give you a little bit, then I know what's out here, and you ain't got enough to survive. That's where we got a problem. I think we have to put them in a position to at least have more than what they need to deal with what's out here effectively.
Fair.
But knowing their ceiling, I mean, as long as you're making sure that they're getting what they need, but I think that goes back to what you guys were talking about earlier.
Right.
But some of that is determined by us knowing what our purpose is, which goes back to what Rail was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to govern ourselves accordingly, if you will, to get the results that we need because they're paying attention.
And first part of that question, I just want to say I love Tony's response, and I'm just wrap it up with a scripture. In the Bible, Jesus said, I only do what I see my Father do.
As always, we appreciate you joining us on this journey to become a better version of ourselves. These candid conversations are meant to inspire, encourage, and empower you with something that you can apply to your own life or share with someone that you know needs to hear it. We would love to hear how these conversations are impacting you or the people around you. So do us a solid and head on over to the review section on iTunes or Stitcher and leave us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, I'm proud to announce that we recently released our very first high-quality coffee table photo book, Fatherhood Through the Eyes of Black Dads. This book tells a story of 8 dads and their experience with fatherhood using powerful images. Head on over to our website awesomeblackdads.com, and click on the Projects tab for more information. You can follow us on all social media at Awesome Black Dads, and we'll see you next episode. Peace.